If you don't know, my name is Kevin Walkenhurst. I am the current president of the Alumni Association here. So I graduated with you in 2011, so almost 10 years coming up now too. But this marks the first time in history that our meeting has been done completely virtually. So it's definitely kind of a strange thing here too, but on the bright side, we get to choose our own food that we eat. And also, if any of you get tired of hearing my voice this entire time, then it's a lot less awkward if you want to get up and leave than if we were all sitting together. But in all seriousness, thank you so much for attending. It does mean a lot to me. It means a lot to the Board of Pharmacy here too, and to the college as a whole for attending. So before we get started, I wanted to specially thank Ryan Boyak and Maria Lara for putting all of this together. So it took a lot of effort to logistically send out all the invitations, all of the gift cards, everything there too. So I really do appreciate their effort on that. I'd also like to recognize our current students that we have with us today. They're Taylor Hammock, who is a P3, Gisu Amani, who's a P2, and Katarina Ricks, who is also a P2. So these are the new student members of our alumni board for the upcoming year. And later on in our Q&A section, they might come in handy for a lot of our stuff too. As a recap, unfortunately, over the last year, our alumni activities have been sparse, as have most of our own personal activities. So we had to cancel the alumni golf tournament, the alumni student bowling nights, and the alumni tailgate party. But on the bright side, this is just another year where BYU did not beat Utah in football. So we're all pretty happy about that. But we're really hoping to bring back these activities next year, and please just watch out for your email for all of those upcoming activities to come out. But what did not get canceled was all of your generosity during the White Coat Fund Drive for our students this year. Once again, with everyone's generosity, we have sponsors for every single white coat and then some after that. So all of these proceeds go directly to the college and directly to the students for their scholarships at the college. So thank you so much for all of your giving during this difficult time as well. At this time, I'd like to turn over my time to Dean Peterson, who would like to go over an update with the College of Pharmacy and everything that's going over there. So all to you, Dean.
Great, Kevin. Well, I think mostly I just wanted to say hello to everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. It's wonderful to see your faces. Wish we could be together, but still good to know that we're part of this community and able to connect remotely. We had a really wonderful meeting earlier today with the Half Century Club. Good to see all of you on this call as well, and to hear about the great things going on in your lives. It was actually really fun just to hear the banter we had here between Dave Wienig and Bob Small. Just kind of fun to see that these connections can last for so long. It has been a really great, despite the challenges, a great year for the college, and we faced a lot of challenges, but we've managed to keep our core missions advancing. I don't want to take a lot of time because I know we have a lot of ground to cover, but some exciting things around education, where we've made some pretty significant overhauls of our curriculum, and also adapted to COVID in a lot of interesting ways, where we're now able to deliver our curriculum remotely. Research is going great. We had $22 million of external funding this past year across a whole range of kinds of research projects. The U.S. News and World Report came out, and we moved up in the rankings to number 14 in the nation. So that was really great news and reflection of, the wonderful reputations you as alumni have, and also of the things that are going on in the college, and a lot of our clinical faculty, 15 faculty members at the forefront of a lot of patient care that's been going on this year. So a lot of wonderful things, community outreach. I'd love to find another opportunity to tell you more, but I know we have a full agenda today, so I'll keep it to those few brief highlights.
Great. Thank you so much, Dean Peterson. I guess that from there, we'll actually move on to Ryan, who will be recognizing a couple of special people that we have here today. So I'll have you go for it, Ryan.
Sure. Welcome. My name is Ryan Boyak. I'm the development director here at the College of Pharmacy, and I've been in this role for about 10 years. So I recognize quite a few of your faces, and some have gone through the program, and then many have attended either our banquet here or our banquet down in Southern California, or a golf tournament, or been part of our white coat ceremony, or sponsored a scholarship, or been to our scholarship dinner. So there's many activities over the years that we've been able to interact and interface. I would like to just, first, we have Dr. Laura Shane Mcwhorter online. You can see her. I know a lot of you will recognize her as a previous faculty member, and she still is teaching our herbals class. And then
and some other classes as well.
Yeah, great.
And still involved with interprofessional education research for underserved patients, working with the College of Health, actually. And we are launching a program called the DEEP program, which stands for Diabetes Education and Empowerment Program, and still writing. So anyway, so you guys turned me into a lifelong learner, right?
Mm-hmm. And then we also have Dr. Karen Gunning, who's joining us, also alum from our program. She is also our Associate Dean for Community Engagement, and is working at the Sugar House Clinic. Is that right? Yeah. I'd like to say a few words.
Sure.
Yeah.
Our students have been amazingly involved, and it is so wonderful to see the students here tonight, particularly Taylor, who I got to interview as a pharmacy school candidate, which I always love. So our students have, over the past year, done amazing things. They received an award last year from the American Pharmacists Association Student Organization for being the best student chapter in Operation Diabetes, which exemplifies their outreach towards our community in the area of diabetes education and screening. So that was really a great achievement that they had. And of course, this year, things are a little bit different. There's a lot of Zoom blanket making and journal clubs conducted remotely, and things are different, but I think they're doing a great job at adapting to the limitations that we have because of the current times. So really proud of them.
Great. Thank you, Karen. And then also Kelly Esters is joining us. She was a recent hire from University of Nebraska Medical Center, and she's our Senior Director of Advancement in the Health Sciences Development and Advancement Office. So if you could just wave your hand, Kelly. And
Thanks, Ryan.
You're welcome.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you. So the two that we'd like to recognize today are both Brenda Lawler and David Wienig. I'll highlight Brenda first. Brenda came to our program as a non-traditional student. She came back to school at the age of 47, and she graduated from our program in 2002 at the age of 52. So I was over at her house the other day, just giving her a quick award. But here's a picture of Brenda at one of our golf tournaments, if this pops up. Oh, it didn't pop. It didn't pop up. Let me see if I can try that again.
We can see it.
We can see it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, we see it.
great. But what she said to me is she said her son or her kids ended up being her tutors for calculus, and I thought that was a real fun, a real fun way for her to jump back into education. But at the age of 62, well, she went and worked for Associated Foods and was a community pharmacist for 10 years, and retired at the age of 62, and went and served an LDS mission for a little bit with her husband, David. But since she has been back, she has served on our alumni board, and then she has also served on our admissions committee for many years. And we would just like to recognize her for her service to the college. And I know she was a great pharmacist, but she's also just a wonderful person. So I'll put her on the spot as well. If you'd like to just say a few words, that'd be great, Brenda.
Okay, well, I just want to say that this opportunity to serve with the alumni has really given me a chance to keep in touch with the pharmacy world. And I've especially enjoyed working on the admissions committee and interviewing and reviewing the applications from all the various applicants. And it's really helped me to, like Laura was saying, keep learning and keep in touch with our great organization. I'm sorry to have to stop, but I've got to deal with something else.
Thank you, Brenda.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Brenda. Yeah, next we'll move to Dave Wienig. And Dave, as we heard a little bit just at the beginning when he was talking to Bob, but Dave worked for Abbott when he graduated, and then for many years worked at the Dan's Food on Fort Union and 20th East, right there on the Highland Drive. A lot of Salt Lakers know that area well. And he had many students rotate through his pharmacy for many years. But I was able to talk to he and his wife, and Dave is staying busy being a painter. He paints with oil painting, and then he's also a stamp collector. And his wife said he can fix any bike. So she called him a true Renaissance man, and has really enjoyed his career as a pharmacist and was influential in helping people come into the profession, but then also served on the admissions committee for, I think it was about a decade or more. Is that right, Dave?
Yeah, it was at least 10 years. Brenda and I,
20.
both on 20. Yeah, it was more like 20 years.
More than 20.
Oh my goodness, there we are.
Yeah. Yeah, would you like to say anything else, Dave?
No, I enjoyed the whole thing. I have been very happy to be connected with the college for all these years. I started off on the alumni committee too, and then was from there appointed to the admissions committee. It's good. I love doing it. I would do it again in a heartbeat. Enjoyed the whole thing. I'm still glad to be very connected with the college.
Good.
I'm not getting any younger though.
Well, and it's pretty funny because Ryan had even mentioned that Dave is pretty essential at getting people, kind of swaying people to the University of Utah. Dave specifically swayed me to the University of Utah as well. So I actually worked at that same Dan's Pharmacy, from 2004 until I graduated pharmacy school in 2011. So that was a little bit after Dave's time there too, but I worked with Dave a couple of times there, and yeah, I remember it. Remember specifically. So I really do appreciate your help in getting to the college as well, Dave. So thank you so much.
Well, I have a grandson that you need to talk into doing this. He's kind of sitting, just go back to a mission. He's kind of undecided.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I guess now it's our turn to try to convince everyone to get into the profession too. So, but awesome. Well, thank you so. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that, both to Brenda and Dave. Thank you so much for everything that you've done for the college too over the years. So, well, I will actually kind of move on to our next award. So our first award that we're going to give out tonight is our Alumnus of the Last Decade Award, which is going to go to Monique Hall. So she was in the PharmD class of 2010 and is currently a pharmacist for Jolly's Compounding Pharmacy in Sugar House. She worked in several pharmacy settings, but finds independent community pharmacy and compounding to be her favorites. Monique has served the College of Pharmacy as a member of the University's Student Advisory Committee in 2006 to 2007, and as a board member for the Alumni Association from 2007 to 2014. She's been a mentor and a preceptor for numerous pharmacy interns on rotations and during community events. In 2016, Monique and her canine teammate Dylan became a certified animal therapy team with Intermountain Therapy Animals. In this capacity, they have provided comfort to others in the University of Utah family by participating in de-stress events for students and staff during the finals week at the Marriott Library. During this, attending health fairs at the Open Student Union and Eccles Student Life Center. Monique and her husband, Christopher, live in Sandy and recently celebrated their 21st anniversary. They sponsored the Maura Garamoni Memorial Scholarship, which honors Monique's sister who actually passed away from breast cancer during her P2 year. This scholarship established soon after Monique's graduation from college. This has been awarded to 10 different students. So join me with congratulating Monique Hall. And unfortunately, Monique was not available to join us for this meeting today, but I do believe that Ryan has a message that she has done. So we'll play that now.
Good evening. Thank you to all the alumni board members for the incredible honor of receiving the Alumnus of the Decade Award. I'm truly humbled to be recognized by you, particularly given all of the outstanding alumni from the College of Pharmacy. Earning a Doctor of Pharmacy degree takes hard work, and I couldn't have done it alone. A special thank you to my husband, Christopher, for his unwavering love and support that allowed me to switch careers and devote many long hours to fulfilling my dream of becoming a pharmacist. I also thank the many alumni and donors who support me through scholarships each year. For that, I'm truly grateful. I've been privileged to serve the college while as a student and after graduation, as a volunteer for several community events, as an alumni board member, and most recently as a preceptor and mentor for many pharmacy interns. My husband and I are pleased to sponsor the Maura Garamoni Memorial Scholarship, which is a tribute to my older sister who passed away from breast cancer during my P2 year. Maura was one of the most generous people I've ever known, and she showed me how to give from the heart with abandon to experience the pure joy of giving. So far, 10 students have benefited from this scholarship, with many more to follow. I encourage everyone to give back to the College of Pharmacy in any way you can, through your leadership, donations, white coat sponsorship, or service to the community. Thank you again for this honor. Have a great evening.
That was awesome. Thank you so much for getting that, Ryan. And yeah, definitely wish she could have joined us for tonight too, but that video was spectacular. So, and very deserving. I actually had, I did not have knowledge of that scholarship offer. So very, very nice there. So, but okay, great. Well, our next award that we're actually giving out tonight is the Heiner Distinguished Alumnus of the Year Award. This year we have chosen Dr. Elizabeth Young to get this award. So Dr. Young graduated from the University of Utah PharmD class in 1990 and is currently an anticoagulation pharmacist in the thrombosis clinic at the University of Utah. She received her undergraduate degree in 1981 in food and nutrition and was later encouraged by her coworker David Lowell to go into pharmacy. At the University of Utah, she chose to bypass becoming a registered pharmacist to becoming a doctor of pharmacy. From there, she went on to do a myriad of different pharmacy jobs, including home infusion pharmacy, newborn ICU, anticoagulation, depression clinic, internal med, and pharmacy management. When I interviewed her, she says that having the ability to bring all of these different experiences to her career has made her a much better pharmacist and is one of her biggest accomplishments. As many of you know, Dr. Young worked with the University of Utah College of Pharmacy for 11 years, from 2003 to 2014. During that time, she was able to touch the lives of many students. I can attest to this with my own experiences there too. While I was in school, I knew Dr. Young was always there for me and any other student that needed a helping hand. On multiple occasions, I would stop into her office to seek her expertise for pharmacy-based questions, or even just to drop in to say hello, because I knew that she was always going to be very, very greeting and very gracious. Also, as many of you know, she contributed greatly to the Thailand rotation and attended many of the trips there. When asked, she said that this is one of her favorite experiences at the college and something that she misses the most. As an alumni, Dr. Young has continued to support the College of Pharmacy by being a preceptor, attending many alumni gatherings, and even serving on the alumni board in the past. She is someone that I personally have looked up to ever since I started at the College of Pharmacy at the U, and I hope to achieve just a fraction of what she has in her career. I'd like to present this year's Heiner Distinguished Alumnus Award to Dr. Elizabeth Young. And if you'd like to give us a couple of words, that would be fantastic.
I will try. Thank you so much, Kevin. That is really a very kind and humbling for me, kind and humbling introduction. Many, many thanks to the Alumni Association for this great honor. It is something that really left me dumbstruck. But I am just really pleased to receive such a high honor. There are many people that I need to thank that have helped me along the way. As the saying goes, I have walked on the shoulders of many people who went before me. And I can't thank everyone enough who has worked with me, supported me, and imparted a piece of wisdom that helped put me on the right track. When I first considered going to pharmacy school, I was a single mom, and I knew I needed to make a career change. And I knew I wanted to stay in healthcare. So I decided to do a little research in the area, and working in my area of nutrition, I had made a few contacts in pharmacy. One of them was Dr. Roll, not Dr. Lowell, Dr. David Roll, who at the time was the associate dean of the College of Pharmacy, and he and I had worked together on the Utah Heart Association board. And so I asked him about going into pharmacy and what he thought pharmacy careers would be like. And he highly encouraged me to apply. He said, you need to do it now. This is the time for pharmacy. Things are changing. Well, I was real hesitant. I wanted to wait. I was in the middle of my master's with the Foods and Nutrition program, and I thought I could get it done within a year, and that would give me time to focus on pharmacy. So I kind of thought about it some more, and I had another friend, actually. My lab partner was Don Alexander, Dr. Don Alexander, who some of you may know. And I asked him about it, and he again also very encouraging, said, apply now. Things are changing in pharmacy. Pharmacy is going to be a different career at the time it was the 20th century. And he said that I should really apply. Well, I did. I applied. I really didn't expect to get in, and I got in, and oh boy, here we go. And so I really have them to thank for pointing me in the right direction, because I probably would not have applied if they hadn't encouraged me to do so. Pharmacy school, as many of you know, is really hard. It was probably the hardest thing I've ever done. Being a single mom, trying to work, all those things all the different balls that you're trying to juggle. But you develop special friendships in the College of Pharmacy, and many of you are probably remembering those friendships now. And they provide you the support that you need, whether it's moral support, whether it's somebody that you can just vent with, whether it's someone you can get ideas or tips from. And my long-range plan was to work in a hospital. And since I had many years of experience working in a hospital in nutrition, I really wanted to stay in a hospital type role. However, back then, as it is now, those hospital internships were far and few between. And I had some good friends who worked in a hospital, and they worked at the VA hospital, which I'd never even thought about going to. And they knew about a position that was open, and they encouraged me again. I had people encouraging me to apply to that position. It was open. Nobody else had applied, and I applied and got that internship. Back then, the VA was kind of the wild, wild west. It might still be the wild, wild west. I don't know. But that unique environment at the VA really allowed me to develop some clinical skills, clinical acumen. It allowed me to become more confident in making recommendations for patient care. And I really have to give a shout out to the VA crew who let me play in their sandbox while I was there. To Mike, Robert, Bobby, Doug, Al, and they just sort of let the reins go and let me go, and let me do what I felt like I needed to do to learn while I was there. I remember one particular experience I had while I was there. There was a patient who was getting gentamicin, and they needed gentamicin kinetics done. And I waited around. I knew what time the lab would be finished with the level, and I waited around and quickly grabbed it and calculated the kinetics and the half-life and the dosing. And I went up to the medical resident and I gave my dosing recommendations. He had this huge sigh of relief when I gave him a dose recommendation. He was, oh, thank you. And I think he was just horrified that he was going to have to do the dose calculation himself. But I think, at least I hope, that I gave him some indication of how beneficial pharmacists could be on the healthcare team. And I hope that in the future, he would go to a pharmacist and not just get gentamicin kinetics, but maybe some other recommendations about medications for a patient. I think that throughout the decades, I've been afforded, as Kevin said, many different opportunities to work in many different positions, from the neonatal ICU to a community pharmacist to assistant dean, which I consider myself to be very lucky. I call myself a Jill of all trades and mistress of none. Probably one of the most influential people that I ever had the experience of working with is Armand Delanchian. And for those of you who know Armand, I know you're shaking your head in agreement. Armand was somebody who really was visionary, truly visionary when it came to pharmacy practice. He hired me to work as an ambulatory care pharmacist for FHP Healthcare. And when I made that move to ambulatory care, I was doing it with great trepidation. I was thinking, what am I doing? I wanted to work in a hospital. I was going to be the clinical cowgirl making all the drug recommendations. Ambulatory care, poof, you know, that just wasn't going to be for me. But I took the position, and pharmacy was changing, as everybody was saying, and ambulatory care for me was probably one of the best clinical roles that I have ever had. But part of that was because of Armand, and Armand was one of the big changers when it came to pharmacy practice. Armand actually started the anticoagulation clinic that I currently work in. It was either 1986 or somewhere in there, 1987, almost unheard of at the time for pharmacists to be managing Coumadin, taking it away from the physician's office and putting it into the pharmacist's hands to allow for better management. And they showed that pharmacists did a better job of managing the anticoagulation. That clinic, as I said, was it was initially at Redwood, and although it's not physically there anymore, it is still continuing to this day. And Armand not only gave me that great opportunity to work in ambulatory care, but he also instilled in me a passion for ambulatory care practice and helped me to see the bigger picture about pharmacy practice and where we could be going. So Armand, if you are listening or if you're tuning into this later, I want to thank you for generously giving me so many opportunities and encouraging my growth as a clinician. When I entered pharmacy school, some of you may know this, the PharmD program was a post-baccalaureate program. And when I entered, I was actually starting in the baccalaureate program. And the college at the time did have a PharmD program, but you either did it as a post-baccalaureate, or you could do what they called a bypass. And the bypass was you applied to get into the PharmD program at the end of your first quarter of the second year. So we were on the quarter system back then. And so it would be sometime around November, December, you would apply to bypass the last 2 years of your baccalaureate program and go into the PharmD program. And when I went in, that was what I was planning to do. I told everybody I would be applying to the program. Well, the second year of the baccalaureate program is pretty tough as the second year is of the PharmD degree. We had kinetics, we had pharmacology, we had biochemistry, and it was an intense quarter. It was pretty much the quarter that a lot of students would drop out at that time. And although I really wanted to apply to the bypass program, after final exams, I was just exhausted. The deadline came and went, and I didn't apply. So we had our Christmas break, and we came back to school, start the second quarter, winter quarter, and everybody is sitting in class. It was just a cold and dreary day, that first day back at class. And we were in Art Lippman's class. It was a communications class that we had to take. And Art Lippman walked in and he made an announcement, and he said he was going to have a special guest come in that day. And I thought, wow, that's a big change. Nobody interrupts Art Lippman's class. Well, that special guest was Dr. Hal Wolf. Hal Wolf, Dr. Hal Wolf can interrupt Art Littman's class. And Dr. Wolf started talking about the future of pharmacy. And he comes in, strode into the classroom with his white coat. And he's got, I don't know if any of you have heard Dr. Hal Wolf speak, but he's got quite the booming voice from Boston. So he says, "The future of pharmacy, ladies and gentlemen." And he calls everybody ladies and gentlemen. And he starts going on about the future of pharmacy. And I thought to myself, what is he getting at? I know what the future of pharmacy is. And I looked around the room, I quickly scanned my peers, and pretty much everybody was taking this opportunity to catch up on a little bit of missed sleep. And Dr. Hal Wolf kept on speaking. He took the whole 45 minutes. Finally, he concludes, "And so, ladies and gentlemen, we are extending the deadline for bypass to the PharmD program." And I thought to myself, aha, that's it. Nobody else had applied to the PharmD program. And so I applied, and lo and behold, I got in. So I have actually to thank Dr. Wolf for encouraging me to go into the PharmD program, because I probably wouldn't have applied to it otherwise. And I have to say that I am eternally grateful and happy that I did it. I have had so many opportunities having the PharmD degree. I have even been able to travel with it. As you heard Kevin say, I went to Thailand, I've been to Ghana, I've been to Ireland, and it has been a great degree that has opened up many doors for me. Finally, my time spent at the college as assistant dean was a very special time. To all the former deans, faculty, and staff, I can't thank you enough for your support, encouragement in a tough and challenging position, as you all know. When I started in that position, I was told pharmacy practice is changing and the time for a clinical pharmacist is now. And there were a lot of changes being made. As I now hear from Dean Peterson, there are still changes being made. And I think as pharmacy continues to grow, there will still be changes to come. I can't end without thanking the legion of students who I've had the pleasure of working with. You allowed me my foibles, permitted my various uh-oh moments during lecture in class, which I won't bring up right now. We can talk about it some other time offline. You always did what I asked, smiling, maybe somewhat a little bit grudgingly, but always smiling. It has been my pleasure getting to know you and working with you. I consider you the future of pharmacy, and you have renewed my vision that pharmacy is indeed changing for the better and that the time for pharmacy is now. I see from you better patient care, better outcomes for patients, and I see a better future for pharmacy. It is also my great pleasure to be sharing this virtual stage with Monique. She is really one of the most memorable students that I can recall from the College of Pharmacy, aside from you, Kevin.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm memorable in different ways.
Yes, that's true. Everyone is memorable in their own special way. Once again, thanks to the Alumni Association for this distinguished honor. I will cherish it, and as I cherish all of you who I've worked with and have had the good fortune to know. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you so much, Beth. Wasn't hyperbole by any means to say that you were an amazing instructor, and definitely I'm sure everyone at the college now misses you for not being there. So, well, we're nearing the end here too. What we wanted to also do was just kind of bring up, just kind of open it up to everyone too, just to see If anyone has any memories from the College of Pharmacy from back in the day, or just any stories that they would like to share about pharmacy practice right now and how it's changed from when you started. So, I mean, if anyone has any stories, we would love to hear them.
Well, I can give you this is Bob Small. Can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you.
All right, well, I spent a long time at the University of California, UCLA Medical Center, 35 years. And we had a lot of pharmacists there initially. We probably had 180 pharmacists. We had pharmacists doing everything. And we had a director of pharmacy who didn't want a drug in the whole campus touched unless it went through a pharmacist first. So he was a really pro-pharmacy guy. He created a lot of programs. He created all the satellite pharmacies. They had a centralized pharmacy, and he put satellite pharmacies on every ward. He created a ophthalmology pharmacy, a pain management pharmacy, oncology pharmacy. I can't even tell you drug information. We had like 4 pharmacists full time. We had at the time I think 4 to 6 residents annually, and I'll tell you about a little bit about the history. He would only take residents from University of California, San Francisco initially for maybe 10 years. He felt that was the ideal pharmacy school in the country. And that time it was, one of the first to give the PharmD. And well, there's only 3 schools in California at that time, UOP, USC, and UCSF. He hold them to UCSF. And then as the years went by, I spent 35 years there. I saw how that his attitude changed somewhat when he saw the level of competence that was coming from students from, quote, other schools, the Arizonas, the Western University, the University of Utah, Massachusetts College of Pharmacy, you name it. We started bringing in residents from other pharmacies. So that was, to me, I thought that was one of the best things that we could do, is to give everybody a chance, And because there was competent students everywhere we went. So, I did everything when I was at the U. I had the pleasure of, I think Ryan visited me there once. I don't know, but we go up football games every 1 or 2 years, and we'll visit Ryan, bug him a little bit. And he got us into a great special VIP box. One year, it was November, it was cold as hell. And I think it was a game that Utah lost. But anyway, we sat warmly, thanks to Ryan. Appreciate it. And then one of the things that I did, different things at the university, inpatient, outpatient, investigational drugs. I did controlled substance and monitoring. I did the bind I did it all, ambulatory care. And one of the things I decided to do about 15 years into my career there was to monitor all the significant interventions that I made as a pharmacist. To, being a teaching hospital, of course, you get many residents and interns writing orders, and it's a disaster often, especially in pediatrics and chemotherapy. So I made it a point to, when I did an intervention, I made a copy of the order and what was changed, and I saved all those interventions. I now have within the last 15 years I was there, I have a 5-inch, 3-inch binder packed with interventions, and I'm still doing them from where I'm working in a semi-retirement position. So I thought, if anybody ever said to me, what's your value? Why are you getting paid? etc. Well, here, take a look at this, and many life-saving interventions. And that was just me. I think other pharmacists didn't really care. They just, I thought it was important to monitor that. So I did that. I'm still doing it. And what I learned there at UCLA, being a teaching hospital and being a tertiary care institution, we saw all the problem patients. Were all transferred there from the remote areas. I mean, University of Utah is in the same position. You got all the the Rocky Mountain, all the tough patients from Idaho and Wyoming and Montana. That they couldn't, the schools couldn't, or the hospitals couldn't handle it. They couldn't figure it out. So, we saw, it wasn't anything I didn't see, and so I learned quite a bit there. It was really a fantastic opportunity for me, and happy to say that I survived 35 years there. The drive was the worst part, driving in Los Angeles area for 21 miles each way, but it was worth it, I have to say. And
Hey, thanks, Bob.
sure, anytime.
Hey, and if anyone has any questions for the students as well, they might be able to answer just how things are going in today's environment too. So
I understand that you still have only about 60 students per class. Is that true? You tend to keep it at that level, about 60 or so?
Yeah. My class is the one that right now is at the 60. Most of the other courses right now are actually smaller.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. So they encourage it.
We had a hard time filling the classes the last couple of years. I don't know why.
Yeah, my class.
Not qualified applicants accepted.
Yeah. My class is the only one right now at the 60.
Okay. UC San Diego is another, quality school that keeps their the number of students down to about 60. They don't want large classes. I know USC will admit 180. I don't know how many survive after a year, but Western U 150, UOP quite a few. And so I think there's some quality, positive quality issues there when you have a smaller class. I think it's good. I mean, I was in a class, Dave and I, we got 30 students in our class, and one female, and I think the dean passed her because he liked her, anyway. And so we had a small class. There's no way to hide, and you have a small class. They ask you a question. They knew your name, and so you had to be prepared.
That's what we like as faculty. That we love that. We love knowing everybody's names, and hopefully the students love that too.
We didn't feel lost at all. I mean, I thought it was great. Almost having a one-on-one type of a relationship with your professor. It wasn't at UCLA when I was an undergrad. My first class, I remember, was a chemistry class. The lecture hall, for the lecture, not the lab, the lecture was 500 kids in one room, in one auditorium, and the speaker was down, 200 feet below, and there's 500 people there. And at that time, they allowed smoking in the room. You couldn't hear anything or see anything because of the smoke, and then it was amazing. Now that I went to the University of Utah, it was quite different. I couldn't believe the one-on-one type of attention we got. So I liked it. And
so I'm gonna recall a memory with Beth in the PharmD program that maybe the students now may appreciate, but in that post-bac PharmD program, the second year of the program, we actually had to be the drug information center from 4:30 in the afternoon until the next morning. And we also had to be the poison center at night, starting from about 10:30 or 11 at night until the next day. Now, mind you, there were only a few of us in the PharmD program. When I was in the program, there were 6 of us. So you do the math and look at how many nights we had to stay at the poison center all night and carry the drug info pager and then report to rotations the next day.
Right.
So Beth,
that is
comments on that.
Much to the horror of Barb Crouch. Yes, that is what we did. Oh, it was quite the experience. Yeah.
Yes.
and then getting up the next morning for surgery rounds, or showing up the next morning for surgery rounds at 6 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. But wouldn't trade that for anything.
No. Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah.
There was, I don't know if some of you remember, but the College of Pharmacy, the road that is directly to the east of that was a dirt road for, I don't know how long. And there was an army barracks on the other side, sort of where the HSCB building is now at. And all through College of Pharmacy years that I was there, you know, when it rained and the road was rutted, they never graded it. It was just rutted, potholes everywhere. So, you know, when it rained or snowed, there'd be slush, snow, ice on everything. Well, there was one student who was in the baccalaureate program that was the year behind me, Susan Smith. I don't know if any of you remember Susan Smith, but Susan was a go-getter. And she had had enough of that muddy road. And she finally went to the university and just kept pounding them and pounding them and pounding them about putting a sidewalk, just a sidewalk to walk on. And lo and behold, the year she graduated, they put a sidewalk in there. And we named it the Susan Smith Memorial Sidewalk, but not officially, unofficially. So I was very sad to see that they tore that sidewalk up.
Oh.
But that barracks building was also, it also housed the poison center.
Yes.
And also the nuclear pharmacy.
Oh, yes. That's
and
right.
Also there were classrooms there where we would teach in the PA program.
Yes.
So it was a multi-use barracks building.
Much like the HSEB is now.
Yes.
Well, those barracks way back then were being used for the external heart. And one of my dorm mates, Bill, well, he's a surgeon, you know, I can't even think of his last name, but he was one of the first ones to implant the external heart. I think it was Bill DeVries, you know, I know him as Bill, because he was just an undergrad, you know, just a tall, lanky, punky, you know, local guy from Utah, him and his girlfriend. But there was quite a story with him and how, you know, he got gobbled up by the big corporation to go to Louisville. And, you know, I don't think he liked that. He wasn't his cup of tea, but he did it for a while. But congratulations to Bill on his ability, you know, to do what he did, you know. And I want to give a shout out. I know Ryan knows about this, but a shout out to, you know, I follow football quite a bit, you know, it's Utah and UCLA football, but, you know, shout out to Alex Smith for making his comeback, you know, last Sunday after 2 years after his compound fracture and terrible injury, you know, and I think it's great to see him come back. He didn't have to come back. He's got more money than all of us put together, and but that's what he wants to do, and that's good for him. And that's not pharmacy related, but it's all right.
And does anyone have any questions either for the students or even for Dean Peterson? And we're fine to share memories as well.
There's a question in the chat.
Okay.
From Rich. Rich, do you want to read your question?
Sure. I was just wondering, with all of the changes, I know we've had to adjust our rotations at the hospital for the COVID precautions, and just was wondering what kind of changes you've had to do at the college. Did you have to get any exceptions from the accrediting bodies for anything? And then, you know, and how are the students faring with adjusting? That could be for Dean Peterson and the students that are on the call.
Yeah, great. And any student want to field that one?
I can definitely field how rotations changed for my class. So I'm a P3 student, and generally what would happen is we have the end of our integrated therapeutics year, our P2 year, and then our summer would be rotations, and then we'd go back to a fall semester of classes. With COVID, we weren't able to do that. And so what ended up happening is our fall semester classes was held during our summer. And so we went immediately from spring P2 to fall P3. And now that we're actually in fall semester, we're doing our IPI rotations that would usually be held during the summer, which definitely I know took a lot of preparation and a lot of hard work on the part of the professors and the college to allow us to do that, so that we aren't delayed in any way into our graduation while keeping us as safe as possible on our rotations this year.
I can also add to some of that. In May, the first block of the year, I had a remote student. So I've never done that before, but I was also working remotely because we were not having very many patients in clinic. And so the pharmacists were at home doing our patient care duties from home. And so we incorporated our student into that. I think in terms of, changes in rotations, we try to do more remote rotations when possible for those first 3 blocks of the year, when really it was hard to determine what was going on and there was a lot of uncertainty. And I think it actually worked very well. We had some amazing partners around the state who were able to do that. And now our students are back on live. I don't know if that's the right word, but they're back in the clinical areas and they're doing their rotations. And I think now, we have a little bit more answer in terms of what's going on and how to protect ourselves, and ways in which we can be creative, keeping the students involved and learning, but also keeping them as safe as possible. So that has been something that Crystal Mormon, who's our experiential education dean, has been doing just a ton of work on to keep our students safe and to keep our preceptors comfortable and in a good way with continuing the education of our students. In terms of the accreditation body, we actually were in a very good spot because we had more hours and rotations than the minimum, which I think is exceptional. And so that allowed us to be more creative when we needed to be with last year's graduating class. And so I think that was the class, where they were told one day, everybody is going home, and then the next day we kind of had our pivot to what was occurring with COVID. And so we, because of our really solid curriculum, we were able to make those changes without disruption in the students' graduation. And the students definitely should speak up about how they're adjusting. It's hard to go from spring to what was supposed to be fall, but then not have a summer and now have kind of a summer in the fall. But I've just been really impressed with our students' flexibility and kind of their engagement in learning. For those of you who have had me as a teacher, I also saw Chaz, who I also interviewed for pharmacy school. No teacher really loves to teach on Zoom. And so I think it's been a challenge for both students and faculty to do that, but we're figuring out creative ways to make it happen. So, and we will be continuing into the spring term with our virtual teaching for most of our larger classes, and then some small group, bringing students in for small groups for things like skills labs and immunization training, which we completed about a month ago.
Yeah, and Rich and Kevin, if you'll recall, for the herbals class, you guys did posters, a poster session. We did virtual posters, and maybe Taylor can talk about that a little bit, but that was absolutely amazing. The students really just jumped on board and did everything that they needed to do. So maybe Taylor can talk about that a little bit.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shane Mcwhorter. So yeah, I was in the herbals class that did the digital poster presentation, and I'd say just definitely in general, when we went from summer is going to be fall, fall is going to be summer, there was a lot of fear and uncertainty because suddenly we're in a new environment and there's always the question, are we still going to get the same sort of educational experience that we were hoping for? When all of a sudden we're all at home, we're digital, what sort of opportunities are going to change or be lost? But in Herbal's class, that didn't seem to be an issue in the slightest, because now it's kind of expected that if we're going to want to do certain conferences or presentations, there may be an option or a necessity to be able to do it in a distant setting. And so we were able to have that opportunity of how do you format the poster and put it in a place where people can view it, can see your abstract, and then ask questions. And then how do you kind of plan your day, because it's not like you're sitting there for 1 hour and you're going to have people walking by and talking to you. So it's like you leave it open for a day or two and you kind of plan your days around checking those questions, fielding them, seeing what sort of interest there is, and then also being able to go and see other posters, even though you're not there in person. And especially with the way things are going right now, I think it's incredibly important that we have that experience, because I fully anticipate needing to do a poster presentation distance for my PharmD project if I want to end up doing it at a conference, unless vaccines are going to be coming out very soon and are very effective. It's just something that now needs to be planned for. And also, I did the IPE. They have an IPE now that's telemedicine. So I had the opportunity to do that. And I feel like the college as a whole, the curriculum has really stepped up to make sure that we have the best educational experience that's going to carry us forward no matter how our residencies, our careers end up looking, whether it's impacted by COVID or not.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the description of what's going on right now. So does anyone else have any questions at this point?
I'd like to make a comment.
Yeah.
My name is Petroni. I'm also from the class of 1966, and I'd like to say hello to Robert Small and Dave Wienig.
Is that Frank?
Yes.
Hey, Frank. Hi. How are you?
It's been a long time. Just wanted to say,
well,
I San Luis Obispo and was director of pharmacy for 20-something years and implemented clinical services and computerization and things in that area. But good to see you, and I just wanted to say hello.
What hospital were you at?
I was at French Hospital and also the Arroyo Grande Community Hospital.
Okay, great. Good to hear from you, Frank. All right, fantastic.
Awesome.
Proves that old pharmacists look the same. Yeah, so what? We're over the hill, so what?
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
Yeah, not there yet.
No, not there. No. Nah, not yet.
I want to say something. Back when I was in school, which is, the last century, Dean Heiner and his wife and all the students from our class went back and visited Willie and Abbott on the train. We got on the train.
Yeah.
You remember this?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know whether any classes have done that before or since, but it was a lot of fun. We had a great time. Put us up in Chicago, and then they put us up in Indianapolis.
Absolutely.
And we rode the train. I remember Mrs. Heiner, the dean's wife. All we had to do was look for her hat. She had a hat with a thing that sticks up kind of like a quail. They had that little thing on their head. And all you had to do was look for that little thing bouncing around. You knew you were following the right people.
That was probably the first and last time we were on trains,
Yeah, it is actually.
Yeah. Oh, it was a lot of fun.
Dave, I'd like to share the picture that you sent me earlier. Let me see if I can do this.
Oh, yeah. Do that. You bet.
Can you see it?
That's Dean Heiner right in the middle. And down at the bottom,
Yeah.
my daughter's there, and the other one's standing off over here. She didn't want to get in the picture. She's still that way. That was a lot of years ago. And here's Rich Schwinger. You see Rich in there?
Rich. Where's Rich?
He's sitting there. He's the only guy there with a tie on except the dean.
All right.
He's kind of over to the dean's right. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So there's a lot of people in there that we know. Look at all the babies. One Sunday morning, we were eating breakfast. This is after we graduated. And a knock on the door, and Mrs. Heiner shows up. She had a box full of baby clothes. Just gave them to us, you know. She drove all the way out to our house and just gave us this big box of baby clothes, which we could use because we got 4 girls now, but we only had 2 at the time.
There was a suggestion that we should recreate that picture.
That would be in 1965 or 66.
Wow.
Thank you, Maria. Tell her thank you.
Hey, that was good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for sending it.
What are you doing with that?
About a minute.
Okay. Well, I was going to say we're a little bit past time now too, so I guess I'll bring everything to a close. Once again, I really do appreciate everyone coming to the meeting today. So, and the good news is you really don't have to drive that far to get home at this point, probably. So that's good news. But yeah, like I said, look out in your inbox for any stuff that we have coming up. I really hope by next year, at least by next spring, we'll have the golf tournament going again, and we can get everything all set up again. So hopefully it comes up very soon now. So.
That sounds good.
Beth again.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good seeing everybody. Thanall. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Good to see you all. Take care.
Bye.
Stay in touch.